last year, which July 1st makes 1 year since I moved in here. So that's crazy that we're already at the 1 year mark. It's wild. But you know, I've said it a couple times that it's pretty quiet here. Everybody kind of just keeps to themselves for the most part. So there isn't always a lot of like gossip, but every once in a while I come up with things to tell you guys. So the first thing, this one might only make sense to people who have watched my past couple of neighborhood gossips here, but I have been struggling to get my windows updated. I have very old windows, and pretty much almost everybody on this side of the building has the new updated windows, the more modern windows. So that means that the guy that lived here before me most likely opted out of getting his windows remodeled. He was probably just like, hey, I'm moving anyway, so I don't need to worry about it, and I probably like missed the window. So I have called the management office and they didn't answer and never returned my voicemail. I've spoken to my super about it, but I love my super. He's the sweetest man. He helps me with things around here. My bathtub had a leak and he fixed it for me, so I love him. I appreciate him very much. So I was talking to him about it, but it's not really in his power. So he was like, hey, you really gotta talk to the management office, and I was like, oh, I'm trying, but they never called me back. But at least I like made him aware of it. So if you don't know, basically just a little recap, my windows, especially in my bedroom, are the problem. They are so old that they rattle when it's windy, and sometimes it keeps me up at night. Sometimes you can hear it in my videos and it drives me crazy, especially because I film right in front of my windows, so you can hear it and I hate it. So there's that. My bedroom windows also, for whatever reason, don't have screens, as they should have screens, but ever since I moved in they don't have screens. And so in the fall and the winter I'm able to open them because there's no bugs, but in the spring and the summertime I can't open them because I'll get flies and bees and whatever else in here, and I don't play that game, so I have to keep them closed, which means that my room gets very hot. So anyway, those are just some of the problems. That was my window that just rattled. So yeah, it drives me crazy. So anyway, I woke up to a text message from my super maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was like, good morning, the window company wants to come measure your windows today. They'll be there around 5 or 6 o'clock. And I was like, oh, nobody told me this, nobody gave me warning, nobody called me, nope. Like, and I had to tell him, I said, I work evenings, which I've told him many times, but he just doesn't remember, which is fine. But I'm like, I work 2 to 11, so it would either have to be in the morning or on a weekend. And he never answered. And now he's on vacation for the next like month. So I don't know what that was about, and I felt bad that they were coming that day and I had to say no, but also nobody gave me a heads up, so I couldn't give them a heads up. So whatever, so that gives me a little bit of hope that maybe when he comes back from vacation I can talk to him. He comes back around my birthday. I can tell him like, hey, can we reschedule that? And I told my dad this, and my dad was like, hello, I have a key, I could have gone and I could have been there. And I was like, damn, I did not think of that. My dad has a key. Both my parents have keys to my apartment, just in case of emergencies or whatever. And my dad lives really close to me, so like, of course, yeah, now I'm like kicking myself. I'm like, dang, I could have just had my dad come after work and be here when they were here. But anyway, so hopefully there is something on the horizon where somebody will come and measure my windows soon. So that wasn't much like gossip, that was more of just like an update, because I've been telling you guys about it and I really wanted it fixed before the summer, but that's obviously not happening. if I could have them fixed even by the fall and just have like screens, that'd be good. So that's a window update for you. My next one is like a funny thing. So there is a man who lives by himself. He is downstairs and like diagonal from me. He moved in maybe around like December-ish, so I've been here longer. If I had to guess, he is in his late 70s, if I had to guess. And now I have never seen this man like face to face. I've never seen him in the lobby or in a hallway or an elevator. I've only seen him through his windows. That sounds creepy, but let me explain. So when I get home from work, I get home anywhere from 11 to 11:30 p.m. and I park in the back of my building. And this man, I see him every night. He has no shame. He seems to have no desire for privacy. He has a big living room window, and then the next room is his bedroom, and he has blinds. I see them. They're up on top. They're there. He just never ever closes them. Ever. It's like he is on full display for everybody to see. And he just doesn't feel the need to close the blinds. And so I see him every night when I get home. A lot of times he's not wearing a shirt. He's just wearing like little shorts. And I see he's either rummaging around his kitchen, putting things away, watching TV. I can clearly see what he's watching. He has an exercise bike in his living room that sometimes he's on. It's like one of those elliptical things, which I'm like, yes, sir, as you should. What a king. Or, sometimes he's in his bedroom. Sometimes he leaves the bedroom light on, even though he's in the living room, which is a pet peeve of mine. Always has been. But anyway, sometimes he's in the living room watching TV, his bedroom light will be on, and I can just see his bedroom. His closets are wide open, so I can see all his clothes. Like, I can just see everything. Everything is just on display. And, like, I think about it. I'm like, when certain people get to a certain age, they just don't care. They don't get embarrassed. They don't care, like, who sees anything that they do. So he clearly he doesn't really have a desire for privacy, which is fine, to each their own. At least he has, like, boxers on when he walks around, and he's not just walking around completely naked. But it's just funny. So every night I come home and I can't help it. It's not like I'm looking on purpose. It's as I walk up the walkway, his window is right in front of the walkway. So anyone that's coming in the building, if you're walking forward, you're gonna see him and you're gonna watch him. And like, that to me is like my worst nightmare. That would give me so much anxiety. Like, I would hate to have my living room window right on the walkway for everybody to see me. I don't know, I wouldn't like that at all. My blinds would be down the whole time. So yeah, every night I come home and I'm like, alright, let me see what my man is doing. I'm like, that's my man. Where's my man? I have no idea what his name is. No idea. And he seems to be, he's obviously retired, I'm sure. So he's just always home. And sometimes I see him during the day too, like when I leave for work, because I leave in like the afternoon to go to work. And sometimes I see him also like working out at like 2 p.m. just chilling. So good for him, he's living his best life. It's just so mind-boggling to me that you wouldn't care, like, who sees you walking around without a shirt and stuff. But hey, his apartment looks cute though. Like, the layout, it seems one bedroom. I feel so creepy. It seems to be a one bedroom. I could tell the kitchen's a little outdated. The kitchen is like studio style, so there's no wall that separates the living room and the kitchen. It's just like right there. But there is a bedroom, so it's not a studio, but it's just interesting. So I'll keep you updated on my man's. I really want to find out his name, but I don't know how to do that without being creepy, so that's that. That was my favorite little tidbit that I had to share with you. The other thing, I think I told you guys about how my building passed a smoking ban, so you can no longer smoke in your apartment. You have to be like a certain number of feet away from the building to smoke. And especially now here, like, weed is legal, so there was a lot of that happening too. You know, it's legal, you can't, you know. But so the board basically put out a form that they had everybody sign, and they were like, if you are in favor of banning smoking, you know, sign it, say yes, and if you don't care, then sign it and say no. I voted yes. I told you guys this just because I hate coming home and like smelling cigarette smoke in the hallway, or even like weed. It's a lot, and it's strong, and I know who it is. I see them smoking out through their window. Again, when I walk up the walkway at night when I come home, it's the same guy, and he's smoking out his window, but you can still smell it. And my biggest concern is when the time comes for me to sell my apartment one day, when people come visit the apartment to like see it and they smell weed or cigarettes, they're more likely inclined to be like, no, I don't want to buy it. Because when I first came to see this building, it did smell a little bit like cigarette smoke, and for that reason alone, I almost didn't buy this place. So I was like, you know what, if I could keep the hallways from smelling like that, then I'm in favor. So they got a lot of backlash for it, whatever. So the ban went in place, I think, the second week of May. So the petition came out in like January, February, and it didn't go into effect until May. And they gave people like a 2-month heads up, like, hey, okay, this has been passed as of May 15th. You know, you can no longer smoke. So they gave them like a 2-month period of like, get it all out, and then after that, you gotta smoke outside. Well, people are still smoking. People don't seem to care, and I get it, because most people here, not everyone, but most people here own their units. So they're like, well, I bought this place, I own it, what do you mean I can't do what I want? I understand that too. I do. But it's like, if it's been passed and it's like now like a house rule here, just like, I get it, but just like follow the rules. I don't know. And again, I'm not a smoker, so I can't really talk too much, but I still come home sometimes. Like the other night, I came home on a Friday night, and it was just like pure weed in the hallway. I was like, damn. And they've sent out a couple of reminders. Like, they sent it to our email and they post it by the elevators, and it's like, just a reminder, like, this is actually in effect, like basically saying like, we know you're still doing it, kind of deal. Stop. But it's not really working, and it's like, what do you do? You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's just a renter. So are you gonna kick him out? Like, you can't really kick him out, so what do you do? It's like hard. How do you keep that rule like in place? You know? So it's hard, but I feel like I'm living with like a bunch of teenagers who don't want to follow like school rules or like their mom's rules. But it is annoying. But that's just me, because I personally don't like the smell. So I don't know, I hope I don't sound like a Karen. But as long as, I will say, the good thing about this building is that the walls are so thick. Because this is an old building, so the walls and the floors and the ceilings, like, everything is really, really thick. So it never comes into my apartment unless I have the windows open, and that guy, because he's like diagonal from me. So if he's smoking out his window and my windows are open, then I smell it. But I will say that's pretty rare. So, I mean, it is what it is, but people are definitely feeling rebellious and defiant. But, I mean, I do get it. So, we'll see what they do with that. And then the last thing, I got a couple of questions, I think, in my Q&A, and I didn't answer it, but there were a couple people being like, did you ever see that lady that was trying to get you to sign her petition, and blah, blah, blah. So, quick recap, there's a woman who lives on my floor, and she started a petition, like, late January, because she didn't like something that the board of the building wanted to do, or whatever, and so she was signing a petition. And I think, was it about the smoking thing? I think it was about the smoking thing. And I had already signed, like, yes, ban it. And so she came, like, the next day, and I was like, so I started this petition, like, do you want to sign it? And sorry, there are a lot of planes today. So I signed it because, like I told you guys, I'm not good at saying no, especially to strangers. But then I made the mistake of, like, I opened my door to her and, like, chatted with her for a little while, and she was telling me, like, her whole life story, which is fine. But then, like, 2 days after, she slipped a note under my door. I, like, pretended I wasn't home, and she slipped her number under my door with the note that basically just said she wanted to, like, keep talking about things and, like, the problems of the building. And I was new here at the time. I was only here for, like, 6 months or whatever it was, and I was like, I don't want to get involved. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, like, I've been here for 5 seconds, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get involved just yet. And I also was in favor of putting the smoking ban in place, so I never like, took her up on using her number. I never called her, I never texted her, I never sent her my number, nothing. And I did feel bad, because I don't like blatantly ignoring people. I just don't. I feel bad. But that was also, like, when I was dealing with my breakup stuff, and I just was not in a place to, like, focus on that kind of thing. And so I had been lucky, and I had not run into her literally since then, in January. I had not run into her. I think maybe once I saw her from afar, and I was like, I just ran into my apartment. But I ended up getting in the elevator with her the other day, literally this past Saturday, 3 days ago. I was doing laundry, I was going down to the basement, and she was in the elevator with me. We, like, came out of our apartments at the same time, and I was like, oh no. I was like, because she seems to, I don't want to judge a book by its cover, but some people, you could tell they're the type where, like, if you ignore them or don't take them up on something, like, they get mad at you, or they're like, ugh, you know. And she kind of seemed like that type to me at first, but honestly, it was fine. She wasn't, like, super warm to me, but she wasn't, like, rude or nasty either. I think we started talking about, like, the weather, because I think Saturday was, like, 200% humidity or something like that. Like, it was nasty outside. So I was saying how I had just turned my apartment, or not my apartment, my air conditioning on in my apartment for the first time this year. And she was like, oh, mine's been on, you know, whatever. But, like, she was fine. And I was like, yeah, you know, the apartments just get so hot. And she was like, oh yeah, mine gets really hot. And she was like, I don't let them turn my heat on in the winter. And I was like, damn, I didn't even know that was an option. Because our apartments do get, like, disgustingly hot in the winter. I'm wearing shorts and a tank top pretty much all year. I keep my windows open in the winter. That's how hot it gets. And she was like, yeah, I don't let them turn my heat on in the winter. And I'm like, that's something I would expect you to say. But I mean, good for her. Like I said, I didn't know that that was an option. I thought it was just like, it goes on for the whole building and that's it. But I guess that makes sense. So, anyway, that's all the gossip I really have for you. I hope you guys enjoyed the pure whispering, and